Hello everyone. Today I will be presenting on the topic of gun ownership and its relationship to online discourse. Gun ownership is a complex and controversial topic, and with the rise of social media and online platforms, it has become easier than ever for individuals to express their opinions and engage in conversations surrounding this topic. Guns are weapons that can cause fatal injuries, so there are such incidents which cause stir among people. According to a 2022 survey, each day 12 children die and another 32 are injured from gun violence in America. And there are 32 school shootings since 1970, and an increase in these numbers is driving conversation on changes to gun laws. And firearms were responsible for nearly 200K homicides in the last 15 years. This topic has been a driver for many divisions among people, especially with respect to politics. The answer to this issue is not to simply allow or permanently ban guns. For example, the police and army might use guns as means to protect the population, so completely eradicating the possession of guns might hamper national security. On the other hand, there is a question of whether regular citizens should be allowed to carry guns and under what conditions. For this project, the focus is on the online discourse related to gun ownership, analyzing the news articles and conversations. At the end of the presentation, the aim is to understand how, when, and what topics revolve around guns. The data for the project is primarily collected from two different APIs, the Google News API and the News API. Various topics such as self-defense, Second Amendment rights, which might relate to pro-gun ownership conversations, and on the other hand, topics such as gun violence, mass shootings are chosen. In total, there are 13 different topics, and at least 300 news articles about each of them are collected. This is how the raw data looks like before it is cleaned. Some of them are just the headlines of the articles, and others are the complete descriptions of the articles. And after the data is cleaned, it looks similar to this. On the screen, you can see a snapshot of some of the data where the contents of the articles are labeled with the main topic they are associated with. Now we focus on understanding the key defining points in the gun discourse. First, we use LDA for our topic modeling. We see that most of the topics are revolving around the idea of self-defense. That is, it's either learning to self-defend or using the guns for the purpose of self-defense. But we also see topics in schools or campuses where it's related to mass shootings or murder. Now we use another model called k-means clustering here, and we have clustered our data into different clusters, and some of these clusters describe the key characteristics of how different clusters are placed. In one of the clusters with words like defense, shooting, claims, jury, here in this first cluster, it indicates a focus on incidents involving self-defense claims and shootings. On the other hand, with words like class, defense, offered, free, community, these indicates a focus on organizations and individuals offering self-defense classes and related activities. We also have clusters with words like defense, trial, case, convicted, indicating focus on incidents involving shootings and other violent crimes that have gone to trial. To see how the topics are related, we do association rule mining here. We see that the shooting is related to topics like accidental, meaning that it is unintentional, and it is also related to other things like sports, telling us the connection between the sports related use of shootings. So shooting is not just a one directional thing, it is related to other things as well. We can infer from the current investigation that whatever might be the reason to have gun, whenever a shooting is involved that relates to the age of a person, it ends up being a mass event, as age is strongly associated with the term mass shooting. And another interesting observation here is that words and phrases such as Second Amendment, NRA are prevalent in discourses when there is some death related to the shooting. But topics such as policy are more prevalent when there are non-death related shootings, which only end up in injuries. Um, in this part of the presentation, we focus on the classification of news, if it is related to gun-related news or not. For this, additional data that are not related to gun are collected, and compared to the previous data, we cross-check it with this current data to see if it is related to the guns or not. We observe a decent accuracy in the classification of gun-related news with most of the models we used here. We see that with naive Bayes, we get 97.6 accuracy, decision trees with 81% accuracy, and SVM with 97.2 accuracy. And as observed in the tree here, most of the classification is done based on the topics that are non-related to gun ownership. And if it is not related to the topic, it ends up being related to the gun ownership. So there are not such strong classification, the entropy classifications here for gun ownership related topics. For this part, we make use of neural networks for the prediction. For the prediction, two neural networks are used. One is neural networks based on glove embeddings, and another additionally uses another layer of CNN convolutional neural networks. And just like the previous models, identifying the gun-related news can be done with relatively high accuracy. Whereas if you want to find the sentiment of the gun-related news, that is, if it is either pro-gun ownership or not, it is kind of a complicated venture here. So from this project, here are some of the final conclusions. First, whenever there is a death involved in a gun-related activity, the discourse is completely different compared to when there are only injuries and no deaths. Another takeaway is identifying the sentiment regarding gun use is rather complicated because it could be a self-defense action for one, but it has also related in death for another. So it ends up being rather complicated. Also, regarding the data, it is observed that the reports on the usage of guns being used for other purposes like hunting, recreational purposes, are not covered as much in the news reports. So, whatever classification has been done, the subset of the gun related news related to shooting has to be subsetted to be matched with the non-gun related news, non-shooting related news here. So, that was one big drawback in doing the classifications here. Thank you.